In this video, I want to walk through what retirement with $5 million actually looks like, how people tend to spend, how retirement is typically structured, and where the trade-offs show up. Retirement success is not determined by a single number. It's determined by spending, purchasing power, and time. Fortunately, that framework can apply even if your target is $2 million, $5 million, or significantly more. Hi, I'm Justin Kuntz, Managing Director of Pacific Wealth Management, helping you make good financial decisions through sound management for a secure future. So between different retirement plans, the dollar amount can change. The framework, however, does not. With that in mind, let's look at specifically what retirement with $5 million tends to look like. The data we're referencing comes from a MoneyWise survey of 127 millionaires, primarily business owners and high-income earners. This is relatively small for a sample size, so it should not be treated necessarily as definitive or universal, but it is useful as a directional reference point for understanding real-world spending behavior at higher net worth levels. According to the survey, individuals in the $5 million to $10 million net worth range reported median monthly spending of approximately $15 grand a month, or about $180,000 per year. A notable pattern is that spending at the $1 to $5 million range and the $5 to $10 million range is remarkably similar. Even as net worth increases meaningfully, lifestyle spending tends to plateau rather than scale linearly. Most major lifestyle upgrades happen before $5 million, not after. So what does roughly $15,000 per month actually support in retirement? At a high level, that level of spending, about $180,000 per year after taxes, typically supports a comfortable, stable lifestyle rather than an extravagant one. For many households, it breaks down roughly like this. You have housing-related costs, around $4 grand a month. Your day-to-day living expenses are about $3,500 per month. Travel and experiences, roughly $3 grand a month, averaged over the whole year. And then insurance, irregular expenses, and discretionary spending, another $2,500 per month. That brings us roughly to the 15 grand total, or about $180,000 per year. Keep in mind these values change significantly based on where you're living and many other factors. To support that level of spending, the income and existing savings are the primary factors. If we treat $180,000 per year as an after-tax spending figure, and for someone that's working and not retired, we assume a 30% effective tax rate, the household needs about a $260,000 of gross income to support that $15,000 a month spending. Now we can factor in guaranteed income for the scenario in which someone is already retired. A reasonable assumption for a dual income household at full retirement age is around $72,000 per year in Social Security income. This helps reduce the amount the portfolio needs to provide over time. If you subtract that from the total gross income needed, that leaves around $188,000 from investments or savings being withdrawn. Using an average of 4.7% withdrawal rate, generating $188,000 per year implies a portfolio of approximately $4 million. And that's the key point. The portfolio is not funding the entire lifestyle on its own. Guaranteed income, like Social Security, reduces the withdrawal pressure, which materially improves the durability of a long-term retirement plan. One of the most common misconceptions is that retirement at $5 million simply means living off of returns. Retirement income at this level is usually structured in layers rather than a single pool of money. Near-term spending is typically supported by lower volatility assets designed to fund living expenses without relying on short-term market performance. Longer-term capital is positioned for growth with the goal of preserving purchasing power over time rather than generating immediate income. Liquidity is also maintained intentionally, so those decisions don't have to be made under pressure during periods of market stress. The objective isn't always to maximize returns. It's to reduce dependence on the perfect market conditions and allow the plan to function across a wide range of outcomes. What often gets overlooked is that retirement success at $5 million is largely determined before you ever reach that number. Retiring at 65 versus 55 materially changes how long capital must last and how much flexibility is required early on. For many households, guaranteed income later on in retirement, such as Social Security, can meaningfully reduce long-term portfolio pressure, but only after the early years are successfully bridged, even for those folks with $5 million in the bank. In most cases, the challenge is not necessarily the number itself, but rather the financial plan that it's used to support. It's the rigidity of that plan that can be a challenge over time. The less flexible the plan, the more capital it requires to function safely. It's important to emphasize that this framework is not exclusive to $5 million. The same principles apply whether your retirement target is $2 million or $5 million or $10 million. At every level, outcomes are driven by spending behavior, purchasing power over time, and longevity and flexibility. The dollar amount changes, the structure does not. This is why focusing exclusively on a single number often creates anxiety without clarity. So what does retirement with $5 million actually look like? It looks comfortable, but not extravagant, flexible, but not fragile, structured around risk management rather than perfection or optimized for returns. And for high earners approaching retirement, the more useful question isn't whether $5 million is enough in theory. It's whether your spending, flexibility, and time horizon align with how this level of wealth actually behaves in practice. That alignment, not the headline number, is what ultimately determines success. I'm Justin Kuntz, Managing Director of Pacific Wealth Management, and if you're interested in learning more about how our clients optimize their wealth and financial well-being, visit us at www.pacwealth.com. Thanks.